Hi, Aman. Thank you so much for joining us the very next day of the elections. I assume that you were really busy yesterday with the counting and other things.
Hi,
But
yes, my pleasure joining you. Good to join after such a good result.
I know. So, again, introducing Aman's new designation. He is currently the national chairperson of NSUI Research Department. Well, congratulations on that. So, you
Thank you so
played
much.
a very important role, I'm assuming. One in Mr. Rajiv Gowda's camp in Bangalore North, and of course, as the chairman of NSUI Research. I want to understand, though Congress did not make it to the majority, why are you guys celebrating so much?
I think it's because of a simple thing that people had written us off, saying the Congress is now extinct. The Congress Mukt Bharat was what people were talking about. But the Congress has shown that we are very much alive and kicking. And if you look at this result, it is us winning close to 100 seats out of just 300 odd seats that we have contested. In the first time in independent India, has the Congress party not contested on all 543 seats. So
Okay.
considering that, this is an amazing show that we have presented. Second of all, the India Alliance has also done really well. The India Alliance has been spearheaded by the Congress Party
Hmm.
as the single largest party. And I think there again, we see the India Alliance being close to 240 seats, which is again a remarkable feat and wouldn't have been possible without the Congress's leadership. So I think there's enough and more reason to celebrate. And I think we are also very close at forming the government, and we do have a stake at forming the government in the future if such a chance arises.
I will hold you to that. I want to understand what exactly is the India Alliance trying to do now, because yesterday we saw the Modi government, or perhaps the BJP coming, and NDA speaking about how they're happy, and so-called victory speech was given by the BJP president and the prime minister, former prime minister. But we have seen no actions. Sharad Pawar is saying that there has been no action on my end. Today, just now, Chandrababu Naidu has announced that he is with the NDA. So, what is the plan of action?
So I think we will have a conversation with the India Alliance partners this evening. That's what's been
Okay,
planned for at this point. And we want to see what they have to say. We're not ruling out anything at this point. We want to keep all options open. But at the same time, we also are understanding that the public has now voted for an NDA government. I think that's something that has to be clarified. Neither
right,
has Modi won, neither has the BJP won. The NDA has won, and the NDA also includes two partners who are now very crucial to the election, which is both Chandrababu Naidu and Nitish Kumar. And if you look in the recent past, they were not part of the NDA. Chandrababu Naidu had a very public falling out with the NDA and had left them, and
right.
also has had several people saying that, and he had several issues with the BJP. And even during the campaign, he was on the back foot in terms of his support for Muslims that was waning significantly in Andhra Pradesh, but
Hmm,
because of the fact that he was allied with the BJP. So
right.
I think you have to understand that both of these allies are fickle allies for the BJP. And
Hmm,
if to keep them in humor, it will require them to really maneuver with them, and also be able to understand what they require and balance them out in that sense. So let's remember this is an NDA victory, and without that, the BJP is not anywhere close to forming the government. So that is why also I am of firm belief that this is going to be a tough government for them to run, even if they come close to forming a government. And even if we don't come close to forming the government and we decide to sit as an opposition, we've accepted the people's mandate, but I think it's time for others also to accept the people's mandate and to say that they are no longer people who are representative. And Modi has lost power. I think it's a shame if he continues to be prime minister. Because if Modi's magic truly worked, then you would have reached 400 par. Your magic has certainly not worked. You are nowhere close to securing a majority on your own. If not for your allies in Andhra Pradesh and Bihar, you would be nowhere close to forming power. So I
True.
think it's time they understood this.
Yeah, but Aman, I'm just I have a lot of people on my feed who are hardcore BJP supporters, and they are putting up a post which showcases that the vote share or the seat share won by BJP alone is more
Hmm.
than all the alliance or all the alliance partners in India or the INDI Alliance. What do you have to say about that, and how do you think that worked out for the Bharatiya Janata Party?
So I think it's simple. If you look at it in terms of comparison, I think the BJP is now at 37% votes
Hmm.
at an average, and that is marginally on a decline since the last time. Whereas the Congress has been on an uptake. We may be at 21, 22% at this point, but there's been a 2% increase from the last time. So
Hmm.
Congress's vote share if the BJP loves to play around with figures of GDP and everything, we also know how to showcase our figures in a good light. the Congress has been on an incline if you look at it. Whether it's a 2% increase, your party on a marginal decline is still declined. A. Part B of it, if you combine everybody together, it's simple. 37% of people are supportive of the BJP, but the remaining 63% are not in favor of the BJP, which is whether they are part of the NDA or not. They are people who do not accept or support the BJP at a total. Even that, I feel, is a wrong extrapolation. As a political science student, I would not agree with that extrapolation, because you think of it as BJP not contesting all seats, Congress not contesting all seats, and people voting for the ally because the Congress was not in the play. For example, in UP, if you look at it, people couldn't vote for the Congress in multiple seats because the Samajwadi Party was our ally. In Delhi, that was the case again. So in multiple states where the Congress didn't put their candidate, that vote share wouldn't have come to us, which originally may have been part of us, right? So again, there also we have to put those considerations into play. Irrespective if you're going by vote share and seat share, then there's a lot of things that can be argued. But overall, I think the thing is, if you look at it as an overall picture of what the mandate has been, they can try to turn this around however they like. But they had set the hallmark of 400. They've not reached anywhere close to that. They've reached, in fact, 240. We, as the India Alliance, set up our standard as 295 seats. Was what we had given ourselves in the Janta Ka exit poll. We are still very much closer to that at saying we are, as India Alliance, are at 240. They had said BJP alone at 400. So you can see the difference between their exit poll and our exit poll in that
Right,
sense.
right.
So we knew where we were standing, and we are very conscious of where we stand at this
Hmm. Well, the environment now is that everybody's looking forward to what exactly Nitish Kumar and the India Alliance would do. But keeping that aside, we have seen some remarkable things happen in this election. One is the margin by which Kishore Lal has won, and of course, the performance of Rahul Gandhi, the defeat of Smriti Irani Namethi. What are specific standouts for you in this election?
So for me, I think certainly the fact that Amethi was trying to show that this was required a Gandhi to win. But it
Hmm.
showed you that even a Congress worker who has been a loyal Congress worker for all these years can defeat somebody like Smriti Irani. And the fact that she won 2019 was only an aberration. It is not that it's not something which is going to continue.
Right.
And such high-handed things don't work out. Second of all, I see the loss of BJP in places like Faizabad, where Ayodhya
Yeah.
was, so a huge defeat for the concept of Hindutva. And there are multiple examples. You can look at the loss of Arun Govil in UP again, who
Meerut,
was
yes.
a character who played Ram in Ramayana, and people thought that people will vote for him because he looks like Ram
Yes.
or reminds them of Ram. That is shows that Indian people are not going to just the Indian voter is smart enough to make a distinction between who is God and who is trying to play God and who's trying to play up God. So I think
True.
these are all very clear distinctions which have come up. So I'm very happy with these sort of changes that have come. The defeat of Prajwal Revanna, I think, in Hassan is a huge reminder that you just can't get away with anything in terms of being in power. And that is again a very stark reminder that this is not a ticket for you to get away. This is a ticket that the people will come and will humble you at some point. So I feel all of these are stark reminders, and I think it stands true for me. And I also feel other victories, if you look at it in terms of how well the Congress party has done in Punjab, the
Hmm.
fact that we have been able to gain 8 seats in Punjab, we have
Right.
been able to show that we're doing extremely well in Punjab as a party. So
Hmm.
I feel that also is showing a consistently good trend in that
Hmm.
sense.
Hmm. Well, one thing also, I mean, definitely stood out for me was very ironical was what happened in Faizabad in Ayodhya, even after the inauguration of the Grand Ram Temple. But we'll just come down south a little bit. I want to talk to you about Team Bangalore that has not seemed to pick up. Well, my single perception about Dr. C.N. Manjunath when he was, projected as the potential candidate was that we have seen a lot of times where the person might be a very popular one in his own personal field or his professional field, but politics is not his game. But Dr. C.N. Manjunath has turned out to be something very different. And D.K. Suresh, such a strong contender, has lost. So, what are your thoughts on this being inside the Congress and, of course, being a person from Bangalore?
So I think for me, when you look at Bangalore rural, maybe there was some anti-incumbency on the ground against DK Suresh, who
Hmm.
was, if you recall, 2019 was is the sole Congress MP who continued to win. So even in waves of the BJP, he still stood strong. But this time, I think that anti-incumbency had hit a huge high for him, and probably that's why we've seen such a loss for him. That's what I would point that for at this point. And as far as talking about professionals in politics, I think you have an example of Dr. C.N. Manjunath winning with a huge margin. But at the same time, people selecting Shobha Karanlaje over Professor Rajiv Gowda in Bangalore North, where you had a strong person with academic credentials, with somebody who had everything that was going in favor of being a professional in politics, but yet people don't choose him. So I think you see that as a difference in terms of even professionals in politics and how that plays out. But Team Bangalore, I think, is a disappointment for every citizen of Bangalore. In terms of just what you was at offer, we had an environmentalist, we had an educationist, and we had a professor who are all together saying that we are providing you with a vision for Bangalore. In fact, we even released this document that is called Our Vision for Bangalore. We gave pointers as to what we would do when you would have a Team Bangalore in power. But at the same time, the BJP, I don't think, has anything on their record in Bangalore. And I think, at least if not anything, I respect the people's verdict 100%, hands down. But I would want the public of Bangalore to hold these people accountable for everything they're doing. And for the fact that we're giving people like PC Mohan a fourth term, for the fact that we're allowing a political tourist like Shobha Karanlaje to represent what is the second largest constituency in the country in Bangalore North. So these are, I think, times for us to say that the Indian public and the Bangalore public is somebody who will hold you accountable for your actions. And I think it is still time as Bangaloreans to make sure that happens. And I think BBMP elections are also going to be coming up in the next 2 or 3 months. We'll have to see how even that translates in terms of showing whether this result continues there or whether the public is able to make a difference in terms of, a national election and a local election.
I want to understand this anti-freebie wave has somewhat affected Karnataka, don't you think?
I mean, I think that the anti-freebie wave may have actually helped curtail the loss to an extent.
Okay.
Because if you think of it in that sense, that there is a sizable number of people who've gotten the benefits in Karnataka. And I
Hmm.
think the fact that these benefits and guarantees have in fact played a positive role for us outside of Karnataka. I think of showing the model as saying this is a great opportunity for you to get these benefits that the government should give you. And that's something that we've shown in UP and other places wherever we've won significantly, is to say that, see, look at our Karnataka model. But I think in Karnataka, the voter has made a distinction between the national level and the state level, which they've repeatedly been doing. We were thinking that this would be an opportunity for us to turn that around and finally maybe a chance for us to see a difference between voters. But I think voters have continued to vote differently at the national level and at the state level. So I feel that is majorly what has happened. But I think guarantees have certainly worked. But I also think there is a larger caste factor in Karnataka that has played out significantly. If you look at
Okay.
it, the Vokaliga belt has completely been routed for the Congress at this point. We've won a handful of seats in the South Karnataka region, which was a Vokaliga stronghold, but it's not shown there as strongly. But in the northern side of Karnataka, where there's more of an influence of the Marathwada and the Telangana effect and all of those places, we've seen a stronger wave for the Congress. I also feel like one inclination that I have is that it's a matter of the phases. If the Karnataka election was in the later phases, we probably would have seen a better result for the Congress party, because I feel like the environment and the actual wave that was an undercurrent that was building up happened towards the later phases of the election. So I feel that is something that may have also affected. If you look at it, the seats that we won are majorly in the third phase of the national election. So I think that's how it would be.
Right, right. That makes sense. But let's come to your forte now, talking about youth and the kind of role that the youngsters have played and the kind of representation we are seeing from youngsters, and what is the future? How do you look at it? Because I feel that Congress is one of those parties that is not so proactive in creating second line leadership, but it's a different case in the BJP. So since you are an important part of NSUI and you are taking quite some important steps here at the local level, what is your take on this thing?
So I feel there are two or three things that I see standing out. First of all, there were some surveys that came about that first-time voters. This was an India Today Access My India survey. Even if they got some things wrong, I think this was some sentiment that they picked up right, which was the fact that the first-time voters and youth are increasingly in support of the Congress as compared to the BJP. The gap, which was significantly ahead for the BJP, now is being closed for us.
Hmm.
That shows that the first-time voters and the youth are strongly in favor of the Congress and the India Alliance. So I feel the
Right.
youth is turning. Second of all, I think in terms of showing in the north, especially whenever I went to states like Haryana and in Delhi and around those areas, I saw very clearly that the youth were angry about not getting jobs. They were like, we don't want you to give us free ration on a daily basis. We want you to just give us jobs, give
Hmm.
us a dignified living. We
Hmm.
don't want to be unemployed and sell pakoras like what Modi ji has plans for them. They
Hmm.
said we want to really get jobs and we want our education to be fulfilled. And even if you look at the Congress campaign, largely in the north, in the states where it mattered, the Agniveer issue and the Agnipath scheme was something that really picked up. You had the youth in Haryana, you had the youth in UP, you had the youth in Punjab, who were saying
Right.
that this is a complete abomination for us to not be able to be part of the army fully as soldiers. So I
Hmm.
feel this is again a narrative which really stuck on. You had paper leaks.
Hmm.
As a representative of students, I feel that is a shocking culture that we've seen in our country where there have been paper leaks, where hundreds and thousands of youngsters study for months together and then go attend that exam only to know that the paper has been leaked and the exam has been cancelled.
You're
So
right.
you had lakhs and lakhs of paper leak victims in the country. And even though the BJP government formed a law last minute, it didn't help. So it
Hmm.
shows that there is a lot of anger in the youth on these fronts, and that the youth will give an answer to the this narrative that that we all will vote for the BJP.
Hmm.
And I feel as far as youth representation is concerned, you will see that several India Alliance victories are from young people. We have this is for the first time, four women are coming into parliament, all at the age of 25. This is amazing for us, and some of them are from the Samajwadi Party, some of them are from the Congress, and one of them is from the BJP ally in Bihar. So if you look at it, you have a lot of young people coming into parliament. They may also come with some dynastic credentials. I can concede to that, but I still feel it is a wonderful time to see that there's young energy in parliament. And I hope that these people will not be bogged down by their party affiliation, but will continue to raise issues for students and raise issues for the youth and be effective representatives. But I feel the clock is turning on young people in politics, and I feel that is something we're going to observe more over the coming years. And this is a good, strong step.
Yes, I hope so too, because it would be lovely to see a lot of young people because they understand and relate to the problems of the current demographic, I would say. But let's see how things pan out. Last question, last point of discussion is the idea of Muslim representation in the parliament, which has been very weak, very low for a very long time. What do you think about the representation this time? Can you just throw light on the numbers that we have seen and how it would pan out for us?
So I feel, first of all, we have seen that this was the first time we've seen a reduction in the number of Muslim candidates across all parties. And I
Okay.
think that itself is a disappointment for us.
Hmm.
However, I think we're about 15 to 16, I think at this point is a number that is being thrown around as the number of Muslim MPs that are possibly going to be entering parliament, which is similar to what it was earlier.
Hmm.
But I also feel that this is a time for us to have young Muslim leadership. You will see
Right.
there's a Samajwadi Party candidate from Kerala who I am extremely impressed by. She is this, her father and her brother have been politicians earlier, but now she is the candidate who stood by and is now going to is won the election.
Hmm.
Similarly, you have Shafi Parambil in Kerala, Congress candidate, who's won in Palakkad, the larger area of Palakkad, and the I think it's the Vatkara constituency in Kerala. So he's one as well. So you have these wonderful changes that are happening
Hmm.
of Muslims who are young, Muslims who are representative of a new category of Muslims who don't necessarily wear a topi or have a beard, but represent the community. This new average Muslim that is there in every other part of the country is now represented by these people. So I feel that is a changing trend that we're seeing. And I think one more thing that has stood out in this campaign is that Muslims were put front and center of this campaign without their wishes being put forth at all. You had the Prime Minister berate Muslims left, right, and center from his highest of offices. You had such a hateful campaign. But I think overall people have said this is nothing we don't want to see anymore. We are not going to get turned around by all of these things. We are going to still ask you for jobs. We're still going to ask you for against inflation. You're going to vote. So all of these things have been proven that Hindu Muslim is not going to work, and Muslims also are equally part of this milieu. And I think even the India Alliance has realized that Muslims are a key part of our voter base, and Muslims have driven largely this alliance across the country. And a lot of Muslim consolidation has happened, I think, in terms of voters.
Hmm.
And even if you don't see it in terms of representation of Muslims, that again shows something which I don't think has happened as much, which is that Muslims are backing Hindu candidates left, right, and center. We are not somebody who seek out Muslim candidates. There have been several places in which you will see Muslims are voting for Hindus because that is they've understood that it's okay for them to be able to back somebody like this as long as it's not the BJP that's coming into power. So I
Right.
feel that is something you're changing as well.
Well, yes, let's see. As of now, nothing is settled, but we are hoping that something good comes out. And irrespective of which party is in power, it's our duty to hold you guys accountable and ask you the right kind of questions. And thank you so much, Aman, for joining us on these regular sessions. Let's continue this further as well. because there was this
Absolutely.
whole election fiasco going on. We couldn't continue it because I would definitely need someone from the party to speak to, and I would love someone if from the BJP they join us in this conversation as well. So it's like an open invitation. If anybody is interested, they can come. They can have a debate or perhaps answer our questions, which the Prime Minister has regularly failed to answer in the form of press conferences or anything else. Thank you, Aman. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much. We'll see you guys again in our next session.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for having me.